Good morning, everybody. Rusty Blackwood here, and I welcome you to my loft. This is like a catch-up update on my revision for the upcoming Return to Autumn Part 2 that I'm planning to release mid-month, next month. And so I had said to everybody that I was going to do some check-ins at times, some updates on how things are going with the novel, and everything is progressing along normally. I'm in my second revision of the PDF that will become the book, and everything seems to be going along pretty good. I'm not finding a lot of issues, but I mean there are some. There always is, and I don't care. I don't care how thorough anybody is, any writer is when they're doing a manuscript, and I don't care how thorough any editor is when they're doing a manuscript, checking it over. There's going to be things that escape them, and this is the reason behind revision in the first place, and why that has to be done. And there are different programs. My writing program, I use Word 365, and I believe it's 2016 program. I really should probably update a little bit, but it works fine for me, and I get along fine with it, and I don't have any issues with the program. It's got a great built-in editor, which is, to me, is worth its weight in gold. It's worth its weight in price, because as you're writing, it will tell you if something is not right or something needs to be changed, and so that is just great, because I'm just getting rid of a pop-up here. There always seems to be these irritations that happen when you're doing a live video. And so, and hopefully the phone won't ring. If it does, you'll have to excuse me for a moment. I had one phone call this morning already, typical scam, and they just don't seem to stop. And I got bit once, and the old saying, get bit once, twice shy, and that is very, very true. And when they first started coming after that had happened, I would just hang up, and then I got thinking, like, no, I'm just gonna give them back, the hassle that they're in for giving me, and they're not going to get a cent. I know who they are. I know what they are. I can't say I know who they are, because there's never an identity. And usually they speak with an East Indian accent, and before anybody gets their feathers ruffled, I have nothing against East Indian people. It just seems to be that all of these ones that are in on this degenerate action is usually speaks with that accent. And I would suggest that East Indian people start to pay attention to the fact of the type of reputation that these people are giving these people, East Indian people. And so I give it right back to them. This morning I got one for, it was for my social insurance number, of all things. Usually it's my credit card. And, this is Amazon calling, or this is Tom Dooley calling, or whatever. And, they to get you to bite, and and I just play along, and I make them realize that just a minute, George, George, get down. I'll be right back. No, no. I'm sorry about that. He's after a plant that's on my dressing table in my bedroom, and I can see it right from where I'm sitting here in the living room. And it is a ZZ plant, and it's a very nice plant. My eldest daughter-in-law gave it to me a couple of years ago, and it's for low light. And because I don't get tons and tons of light up here in the loft. I have two big skylights, and then I have a dormer at each end of the actual loft itself, and that is the only light. And I mean, it with the skylights, it can get quite bright up here. And but this plant is specifically for low lit areas, and it's great because it gives off oxygen, and it's an air cleaner. And so I have it sitting on my one end of my dressing table, and unfortunately it is poisonous to cats. And for those of you who have met George in previous videos, the mischievous George, he was right up there after it. So that's what I was after, and I had my trusty water bottle. I had to use it, and because he's so determined that if you tell him no, he looks at you. It's just like a defiant child. He looks right at you, and he just meow. I couldn't do it anyway, and so but once you give one blast of from the water bottle, he gets the message, and he gets down and takes off. And so he has vacated the loft for the moment, but he will be back, and it doesn't take him long, and he's back. And so if you should hear growling in the background, then you know that it's George. But as I say, hopefully the phone won't ring. I really don't want to take it off the hook, because you never know if somebody's trying to call, that it could be important, and you don't want to miss that call. Or my cell phone here beside me as well. So otherwise I would shut them off, but I don't particularly want to do that. And so as I was talking about, these scams that constantly go on with everybody, constantly, you'd think that they would clue into the fact that not everybody is naive, but unfortunately there are a lot that are. And these criminals, these degenerates, I mean, they are totally taken over by the devil. They've given in, and they go after, doesn't matter, they're such lowlifes. They would take a baby's last formula away from them if they thought that it could bring them money. And the amount of very elderly seniors that have lost their life savings over these idiotic, nonsensical people that, trying to suck the last dime out of everybody. Like, get a life. Because you can't identify who they are. This is how they get away with things. And, but I'm telling you, just, give it back to them. Give it to them. Don't, call them out. Call them out for the sons of bitches they are. And women as well. Just, worse than gold diggers. And, I just think it's appalling. They have no conscience, obviously, but they're going to find out one day exactly. where it gets them. And so, but enough of that. Um, Getting back to The Perils of Autumn Part 2, it's coming right along. I'm on chapter 40 now in this second revision. And I expect that I will have this done tomorrow and send it back to Don, my producer, and let him take care of, you know, getting the corrections that I found this time, getting them put into the next PDF that will come back to me. And hopefully this one will be clear of anything, and I can sign off on it, and it can go to book form and then be ready to release in mid-April. I want to tie this last book in what's become the Autumn series, or the Autumn Trilogy, that began with The Perils of Autumn and then Return to Autumn Part 1, and will finish in Return to Autumn Part 2. And I'd like to sort of tie it in with the running of the Kentucky Derby, which is happening. I think it's May the 6th this year. It's always the first Saturday in May, and so I'd like to try to, work it in with that, and in celebration of the Derby, and also, in celebration of Autumn and the series that she has created, that I created of her. Let's put it that way. And I'm so proud of this series. I released a picture the other day on my different media sites of this most distinguished, handsome gentleman who was very surprising to me when I come across his photograph when I was looking for images for the theatrical trailer for Return to Autumn Part 2. And this man, his image came up in the different photographs on Pixabay. And I couldn't believe what I was looking at, because this very handsome, lovely man is exactly the way I pictured Cyril Landon when I created the character of Cyril Landon. When a writer creates characters, at least I can only speak for myself, but I'm sure every writer does this. When you create a character, you see them in your mind, of how you perceive them, how they appear, how they look, their personality, their history, not just the reason they're in the book, but these people actually exist in the book that you're writing. They're alive. These are real people. And even though the book is fiction. And but this gentleman, it was just like I couldn't believe what I was looking at, because here is Cyril, and of course I have no way of knowing who this man is, because when you model and you sign your rights to the photographer to use your images, if it's set up that way, and the images on Pixabay and Pexels is that way. I mean, there's Shutterstock. There's a lot of different companies that either you outright buy the photo, or you can use the photo royalty free and not have to pay anybody for the use of of that image. And so I have written to the photographer to ask who this man is, but of course I don't expect, and I said in the message when I wrote the photographer, that I understand, that that these images, the models in these images, they their identity is confidential. It's not open to the public. And so whether I will ever hear back as to who this extremely handsome gentleman is or was, I don't know, but I'll tell you, I would love to know, just to write him a note of thank you. And but oh my, when I created Cyril Landon, I the way I perceived him and visualized him, I had just fallen head over heels in love with Cyril Landon, and wishing that, oh my, I wish this man could, actually exist, that he could be real, not just a character in a book that I wrote. And the life, Landon Lawn Stables, the life that Cyril leads, and of course Autumn comes into and eventually marries Cyril and becomes her life as well. And so it's that's one thing I so enjoy about writing, is that you can tap into your imagination and let it just let it fly, let it take you wherever it takes you, and the story is yours to command and direct, and these characters are at your fingertips when you're writing, and you can do anything with them, take them anywhere you want, and they're at your beck and call. And I often find sometimes that they can start to dictate their life, tell you, no, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to go there, or I'm going to cause this, which differs from maybe the way that you want to write the scene or something. When you don't, for those of you that don't write, it's difficult to explain the process and how it can oftentimes happen. And I love it. I just love it. And I love the story that surrounds Autumn Leaves, whom becomes Autumn Leaves Landon. And right from the time I came up with what became the Perils of Autumn. And so the revision is going along, whatever, and I wanted to do a quick check-in with y'all here and let you know how it's going, and that I plan to, unless there's some unforeseen thing that happens, I plan to release Return to Autumn Part 2 in mid-April, and mid to late April, but I'm gearing more toward mid-April, and just after Easter. Would be lovely to be able to have it out for Easter, but that's cutting it too close, because I don't want to rush myself, and as I've said, I'm not the only author that my producer helps. So you're in line, you have to, as he goes through his list of authors that he's giving his time to. He explained it to me one time that how he works, and for the amount of names that that he is taking care of, that he gives an hour, a couple of hours a day to each one, and then he has to move on so that he gets through his list. And I can understand that, but I'm telling you, when you've got a project on the go, and I'm sure the rest of his authors would agree with me, you sometimes need more time than what you're getting. And that's to say, that's where it falls on my shoulders now, that I have to start doing a lot more marketing than I ever used to do. I never used to do my marketing. It was Don that did it for me, and but because of the amount of time, the reduction of time, let's put it that way, that he gives me. Um, if I was to wait, I would never get anything done. I would just never get anywhere. Nobody would remember who I was. And I mean, the old saying, out of sight, out of mind, is very true. In this business, you have to keep your name and your face in the public however you can, and so that they're aware of what you're doing, and what work you have done, and the work you are doing, and what's available. And so that's it for today. I'm going to go, and wanted to do this early enough that I get it uploaded and onto my YouTube channel soon enough. So thank you for watching. I hope that you have a great afternoon. It's just past noon here in Niagara, and so far it's been a nice bright morning, and spring is here, and that is just great. And so God's blessings to each of you. As I say, have a good afternoon, and I will be back to talk with you soon. If not before Easter, then definitely on Easter. I may have another check-in or update again relatively soon on what's happening with Return to Autumn Part 2. So everybody take care. Please like this video. Please share the video. Please comment the video. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So take care for now, everybody. Bye-bye for now.